All right, everyone. It's 2 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is the state expedited accusations calendar. Oh, wait, is courtroom two? There's courtroom two. This is the state expedited accusations calendar in the state court of Fulton County, Georgia. I'm Judge Melanie Williams. Today, we will address cases that have been recently accused by the Solicitor General and bound over to state court for an appearance. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can watch this proceeding. My reset date is July the 25th. So those who receive a surety or cash bond will be going to state all purpose on that date. Those who receive a signature bond at this hearing today will be reset further notice. Okay, have all defense attorneys had the opportunity to interview their clients?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, wonderful. Let me turn up my sound a little bit. All right, who do we have first?
Position 9, Mrs. Yarborough.
All right, Mr. Yarborough, good afternoon. Your case, I'm sorry, Ms. Yarborough, I apologize. I wasn't looking at you. I was looking at the calendar. Your case is 23 CR 004351J. You're charged with simple battery with the offense date of April the 14th of this year. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right. Can I have the history, please, Mr. Howard?
First,
Thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, good afternoon, Judge Williams. How are you?
I'm well.
Good. So this incident occurred April 14th of this year at 141 Magnum Street. And this is where the defendant walked into Miss Brittany Holder's business and demanded that the dress she paid for be completed immediately. And so Miss Yarborough told officers that, I'm not Miss Yarborough, but Miss Holder told officers earlier that day that she told her clients that she was behind on the dresses and that they wouldn't be ready on that day. And so Miss Holder then asked the defendant whether she wanted a refund, and the defendant agreed. And so she refunded her money to her. And then the defendant remained in the business, but she was sitting in the hallway. And then after quite a bit of time, the defendant went back to Miss Holder's workstation and she began throwing multiple custom-made dresses on the ground. And then one of Miss Holder's coworkers told her to leave. And then as the defendant was leaving, she left. Before she left, she punched Miss Holder in the face. So for these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Miss Holder, and to stay away from 141 Magnum Street. And if Miss Holder is on Zoom, I'd like to sound for her.
All right, is Miss Holder present? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is actually 47 years old. 46 years old. I think I calculated wrong, 36 years wrong. I apologize. She does have two children, 17 and 12. And the dress was for her prom, her daughter's only one prom dress. But anyway, we would like to request for a signature on bond because this is her first offense, especially any kind of violent offense. This is her first time, and this happened on April 14, almost 3 months ago. We have no objection to no further contact, whereas Ms. Holder, and stay away from that business location. My client does not want to go there ever again. Since she is currently employed at Grady Hospital for the finance department, she will not be qualified for public defender services. She does have an associate degree, and her daughter, who was supposed to get a prom dress but could not get the dress, actually got a GPA 4.3, a brilliant daughter. She's a great mother, and we would like to request for a signature on bond. Thanks.
All right. Defendant will receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. She's take the 1-day anchor awareness course, have no contact with Ms. Holder, and stay away from that location. Is there anything further? All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Yarbrough. That concludes your case.
Thank you.
Position 1, Mr. Diallo.
All right, Mr. Diallo, your case, no, that's not the right calendar. All right, Mr. Diallo, your case number is 23 CR 004355A. You're charged with 2 counts of cruelty to animals. Do you understand your rights today?
2 count or 1 count?
I have 2. Do you understand your rights? We'll get into it with the state.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Stafford.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened yesterday at 3411 Villa Circle Southeast. Officers responded to that location in reference to a person interfering with the Fulton County Animal Services investigation. Upon arrival, officers spoke with the animal service officer who stated that the defendant was interfering with the welfare check of 2 dogs on their property. He stated the defendant told him to get off of his property and refused to identify himself. While their officers spoke to an anonymous witness that sent animal service officers 2 videos. The video showed the defendant striking the dog. The first video showed the defendant striking a dog, a Chihuahua, multiple times with a 2x4 while holding the dog in the air. The second video showed a different dog left outside in a cage without water or food. And the weather has been over 80 degrees these past several days. At that point, the defendant was arrested. From my understanding, Your Honor, the second count came about because of the second video, since that is a different dog. Therefore, due to these reasons, he currently has a preset bond for $5,000. We're asking that it be increased to $7,500, $5,000 for the first count, and an additional $2,500 for the second count. Do not possess any animals and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
I'm sorry, Mr. Howard. I didn't get the history. I thought this may have been a first arrest. Can you put the history onto the record?
The second arrest, last was 2009 by ICE. That's it.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Wells.
Thank you, Judge. At the time I spoke with Mr. Diallo, I was unaware of the second count of the cruelty to animals. And so I've only had the opportunity to speak with him in regards to the hitting of one of the animals. But in speaking with Mr. Diallo, he does deny the allegations. He states that he loves his dogs. He states that his neighbor has been harassing him because he will leave his dog out, not for an unreasonable amount of time, but he will put his dog outside in the backyard. It's a larger dog. He barks. The neighbor doesn't like it. And so she's made multiple complaints against Mr. Diallo, which has caused him to lose 1 job already. He was very torn up when I spoke with him, terrified that his dog is going to be euthanized. He states that he's heartbroken. He also has an autistic son who's very bonded to the pets that they own. So in no way, he states that these allegations are true. He has even volunteered at an animal shelter in the past. So he is an animal lover, denies the allegations. He is the father of 3 children. He is engaged to be married. He is currently employed by Marksman Security as a security officer. And he will qualify to receive our services. My client cannot afford a cash bond. I would ask for a signature on bond, Your Honor, as my client has very limited criminal history. If Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask that his bond not be greater than $1,000.
All right, defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 each count. He is not to have any animals. He must surrender those subject animals at this time during the pendency of this case. And I'm sorry, Ms. Stafford, were there other special conditions requested by the state other than the no animals?
No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, Your Honor.
All right, and I don't believe that's unreasonable here. Additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing from the defense.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. That concludes your case at this time. All right, who do we have next?
Position 2, Mr. Hutchinson.
All right, Mr. Hutchinson, your case is 23 CR 004349G. You're charged with criminal trespass and damage to property with the offense date of July the 10th. You understand your rights? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Howard.
11 total. Last arrest was in May. That's by taking out of Doraville. 2023 probation and a shoplifting. And 2019 shoplifting conviction. That's it.
Okay. All right, Ms. Stafford.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident happened yesterday at 1684 Monroe Drive, Northeast in Atlanta, which is Norman's Cleaners. Officers responded to that location and spoke to the owner, Ja Ku, who stated that the defendant was inside the location. He stated the defendant had entered by breaking a side drive-through window overnight and had stayed there until he was found by the owner. The defendant currently has a $3,000 bond set. Our office is actually asking for it to be reduced to a $1,500 surety bond. Stay away from the incident location. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right, thank you. Ms. Wells?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 48 years old. He states that he works as a day laborer. He has very limited income, but even though with his limited income, he still will not qualify to be represented by the public defender's office. He does have some college, as well as he has attended technical college in the past. He also is an Army veteran, 4 years active, 4 years inactive as an Army Reserve. And speaking with him, he had obvious pain where he was moaning. He has a severe toothache and tooth pain. And so we would hope for a signature on bond or a bond not to exceed $500 so that he can tend to that injury. And my client does deny the allegations as alleged.
All right, and did the state request a no contact or just to stay away, Ms. Stafford? I wasn't clear on that.
Just to stay away from that location, Your Honor.
And we have no objection to a stay away or no further.
Okay. And does your client have a stable address, Ms. Wells?
Yes, he rents a room and he did confirm his address that was on the booking report.
Okay. All right, defendant's gonna receive a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. He's to stay away from that cleaning location, keep his address current with the court, and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing from the defense.
That's from.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
And that was 5,000
Yes,
signature bond?
yes.
Okay. Position 3, Mr. Jefferson, sitting in the third row.
All right, Mr. Jefferson, your case is 23 CR 004348A. You're charged with battery. Do you understand your rights today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. First arrest, so we'll go straight to Ms. Stafford.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident happened yesterday at 259 Richardson Street Southwest, Unit 605. Officers responded to the location and spoke to the victim, Ms. Marche Conley, who stated that she was walking back to her apartment and saw the defendant arguing with a friend. She stated she intervened and the defendant began arguing with her about leaving items in front of his doorway. The defendant then charged at her and pointed his finger in her face, at which point the victim smacked his hand away, and the defendant pulled her hair and punched her in the left side of her face. As a result of this altercation, the victim has suffered a laceration on her left wrist and abrasions on her left arm. The witness that was present that the officer spoke to stated that he observed the defendant and the victim arguing and then saw the defendant grab her by her hair, which started the physical altercation, in which the witness stated that the victim's friend did make an attempt to break it up. The defendant was asked about the altercation by the officers, and he stated that he denied any physical altercation and stated that he has had prior issues with the victim because he believes that she sprayed something under his door. Our office was able to speak to the victim, who stated that she would be present, and at an appropriate time, we asked that you sound for her. She stated that she and the defendant are neighbors, and their apartments live right next to each other. She stated that the defendant would always walk past her and mumble things under his breath to her, which she always ignored. She also stated that a few months ago, the defendant has accused her of leaving things in front of his door, which the victim has denied doing so. Therefore, due to the alleged facts and these reasons, our office is asking that the $5,000 bond remain the same. However, we're asking for it to be converted to a surety bond instead of the cash bond. No further contact with the victim, Ms. Marsha Conley, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right, is Ms. Conley present?
Yes.
All right, if you would like to make a statement, I need you to turn on your camera, raise your right hand so I can place you under oath.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Please hurry, Ms. Conley.
Okay. I'm trying.
Ms. Conley, you have a few minutes. Very few. All right, while we wait for Ms. Conley, Ms. Wells.
Thank you. My client is 48 years old, as it was stated on the record. This is his first arrest. He is currently unemployed, but he does receive Social Security income for congestive heart failure. He has had past disagreements with Ms. Conley, and he states that she has been harassing him for the past 5 or 6 months. And which has caused him to become ill or has interfered with his health, as well as the health of other neighbors and residents that live at that location. My client has an associate's degree. He doesn't have any children under the age of 18. We will request a signature on bond. We do understand that it will be difficult for them to not have contact. They are directly next door neighbors in what I understand is an apartment complex. However, my client understands and does not want to have any further contact or communication, understands that he would need to go directly into his apartment unit and not engage with Ms. Conley moving forward. So again, I would like his criminal history and his age to be taken in consideration and request a signature bond.
All right, Ms. Conley, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right, you can put your hand down. I am not sentencing the defendant today. He's going to have another opportunity where evidence will be heard. This is just a bond hearing, which means that we're discussing the factors that may necessarily, you may not, you may want to get into what happened and what was different from what either the state of defense said. That's not really what we're addressing today. What the court is most concerned with is your desire for contact with the defendant. In light of these instructions, Ms. Conley, what would you like to tell me?
Your Honor, I don't feel safe. I've never had any altercations with Corey. He's had some tension build up towards me for what reason, I don't know. And right now, I don't feel comfortable in my own home. I have no reason to leave things in front of his door. And my anxiety is through the roof. I haven't eaten anything. I haven't slept. And I have marks on me. He's at least 6 feet and 200 pounds. I'm only 100 pounds.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Conley. I appreciate you making that statement. Anything further, Ms. Stafford or Ms. Wells, before I enter my ruling?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
I understand you want to make a statement, sir. Now I don't want you to infringe upon your right to remain silent. Please speak with Ms. Wells, all right? Defendant is going to receive $1,000 surety bond. He's to have absolutely no contact with Ms. Conley. If he sees Ms. Conley, he should go in the other direction. However, I will not require that he stay away from his home. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition of that surety bond. As a reminder, he will be reset to state all purpose on the, what day was that? The 27th. Is there anything further? All right.
No, Your Honor.
Best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 4, Mr. Polk.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Polk. Your case is 23 CR 004356E. You're charged with loitering and prowling with the offense date of June the 10th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
47 total.
You
Last
said
was
27 or 47?
47.
Okay.
2022 probation, PI conviction, 2020 possession of cocaine, tampering, 2019 probation, and a 2017 trespass conviction. I stopped there.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred yesterday on the Georgia Tech campus or near the Georgia Tech campus at 282 West Peachtree Street. And this is where officers observed the defendant near a bike stand. And he took the wheels and a seat off of a bike and then he walked away. And so when officers made contact with him, with the defendant, they did find the wheels in the bike seat on his person. His bond has already been set at a $1,500 surety bond. So the state would like to keep that at a $1,500 surety bond. So our recommendation is $1,500 surety bond to stay away from 282 West Peachtree Street and the Georgia Tech campus, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
All right, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Polk is 38 years old, and Your Honor, he was in jail for more than a year, I guess, at Fulton County, he says. And then ever since then, he was not able to get employment. So he's qualified for public defender services. Currently, he is residing at shelter. He does not have a high school degree. He actually went up to like 8th grade, and then after that he couldn't finish GED. We believe that he's not capable of making any bond payment, so we would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to lower $1,500 good bond to $500 good bond. Even then, he's not going to be able to make a payment right now. Thank you very much.
Okay, defendant will receive a $500 surety bond. He's to stay away from the address on West Peachtree Street and Georgia Tech in its entirety, and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't infringe upon your right to remain silent. What
Mr.
was-
Polk, you already have a ruling. I would strongly recommend you not to speak. If you have any question, please call me.
What, am I getting a signature bond or what?
I'm sorry, a judge already made a ruling. You have a $500 surety bond.
I can't make a,
Okay, your case
You
will be
understand.
revisited, and I will consider your arguments. All right, I'll keep that in the back of my head. All right, who do we have next?
Position 5, Mr. Porter.
All right, Mr. Porter, your case number is 23 CR 004353B. You're charged with battery, family violence, and criminal trespass and damage to property. You understand your rights?
yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
11 total. Last arrest was in March, shoplifting. That's open. 2022 trespass. I'm sorry, shoplifting. 2015 shoplifting NOLO. Another shoplifting, which was a conviction. 2012 battery DV arrest. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred yesterday at 3030 Continental Colony Parkway. And this is where the defendant slapped Miss Cleothea Fleming in the face, causing her face to swell. This altercation started because the defendant accused Miss Fleming of cheating. And then in the midst of the argument, the defendant flipped over the dining room table, causing it to break. Ms. Fleming told officers that she did retrieve her gun to protect herself in the midst of this altercation, and that her and the defendant have lived together for over 5 years. Our office did speak with Ms. Fleming, and she let us know that the incident location is her address, and that the defendant hasn't lived with her since 2022, but he came over that night, yesterday night, intoxicated, accusing her of having relations with another man. She did let us know that this is the first time that the defendant has been violent with her, and she let us know that she does not want any contact with him, and she wants him to stay away from her residence, and she's planning to file a TPO. So for all of these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $4,000 surety bond, $3,000 for the battery, $1,000 for the criminal trespass, 1-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Ms. Fleming, and to stay away from 3030 Continental Colony Parkway, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And Ms. Fleming, I believe she's on Zoom, so I'd like to sound for her.
I see Ms. Fleming. If you want to make a statement, please turn on your camera and raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right, you can put your hand down. Again, Ms. Fleming, today we're not sentencing the defendant. We're just addressing his bond and bond conditions. So if you disagree with something the state or defense says, it's not really that relevant. What's most relevant to me is your concerns for your safety and if you wish to have any contact with the defendant. What would you like to tell me in light of those instructions?
I would just like for him to, Mr. Porter, to stay away from this apartment and me. I don't have any concerns that he will hurt me any further than what he did the other day. I've known him for 5 years, and he has been peaceful when he comes over to see the cats who he sees on a weekly basis.
Okay. Thank you for coming to court and making that statement, Ms. Fleming. I truly appreciate it. All right, Ms. Kim, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Porter, is 32 years old, and he is currently employed as a floor tech at Urban Services, and he's afraid that he's going to lose his job because of this arrest. He does have an associate degree, and even though he has a job as a floor tech, he's still qualified for public defender's services because of his low income. And Your Honor, he is not objecting to stay away. He can stay at his mother's house. I do have he will be updating that address within 30 days after he's released. And also, Your Honor, he is completely fine with staying no further contact with Ms. Fleming as well. We would like to request for a signature on bond. He has no issues with a drug or alcohol and any other major issues at all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. At this time, the defendant's going to receive a $2,500 surety bond, 2,000 count 1, 500 count 2. He's to have no contact with Ms. Fleming and stay away from the address on Continental Colony Parkway. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. And as a reminder, he will be reset to state all purpose on the 27th. Is there anything further?
Judge, may you
Nothing further.
repeat the bond amount for me again? I'm sorry.
2,000 count 1, 500 count 2, for a total of a $2,500 surety bond. All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 6, Mr. Stafford.
Mr. Stafford, your case is 23 CR 004354J. You're charged with making terroristic threats in this case. You understand your rights?
Speak.
Your Honor, this is the case that I requested for breakout room for MH issue.
Okay, can we do this one last then and take 7 and 8?
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Position 8, Mr. Wright.
All right, Mr. Wright, your case number is 23 CR 004350G. You're charged with battery. Do you understand your rights? All right, Mr. Howard.
Six total. Last was 2022, failed to appear. 2019, cruelty to children. That was dismissed. He don't have no other violence. His history is just driving.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred yesterday at 268 Westminster Drive. And this is where the defendant hit Miss Nakia Newton multiple times, leaving scratches on her neck and a cut on her face. So for this reason, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Miss Newton, and to stay away from 268 Westminster Drive, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. I don't believe Miss Newton's on Zoom, but if she is, I'd
Ms.
like to
Newton,
know.
are you here? Ms. Newton? Okay, no, Ms. Newton. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright is 25 years old and he is currently employed as an independent contractor to deliver food. And he is also an author. He has published 3 books for the last 3 years. And he graduated from high school. After that, he also went to a little bit of college in Florida, Your Honor. He's not going to be qualified for public defender's services. And we would like to request for a signature on bond since this is his first violence offense ever. If Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to keep $2,500 good bond as is already set. However, even that is a little too high, so we would like to request for $500 good bond maximum, but definitely strongly prefer to have a signature on bond. He's been here for 7 years and he has 2 children. He's a proud father of 3 and 4 years old, 2 toddlers, and he has a mother, wife. Everybody's here, not the wife, but baby mother. He's not gonna be running away, and he will be back to the court. Thanks.
A defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim and stay away from the incident location. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Anything further?
Nothing from the state.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. All right, who do we have next?
Position number 6, Stafford, and then position number 7, appearance with Wade.
Okay, so we're back to the breakout position. All right, if we could be placed in the breakout, please. Ms. Bickerstaff, Ms. Kim. Any other? All right. All right. At this time, what we're gonna do is we are going to, I'm sorry, please put the recommendations onto the record.
Yes, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Miss Megan and Lynn Stafford, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, as well as an MHET.
All right, Miss Kim. Will you put
Yes,
your
we would like to recommend for signature on bond, of course. If not, maximum $1,000 good bond, and no MHT is required at this point. And though for the violent context, he can get help from his mother. That's it. Thank you.
All right, and Mr. Howard, please put the history onto the record.
For who?
Position 7.
Ricky Williams.
You mean 6?
I'm sorry, 6.
First arrest.
All right, thank you. All right, in light of the information before me, defendant is going to receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. He is to take the 1-day anger awareness course. He is to have no further violent contact with either of the victims and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Yes, that would be per judge.
Per judge, yes. All right. Ms. Stafford, what that means is he's going to need to report to pretrial as a way of monitoring him. So Ms. Kim might be able to explain why I did that so that you can have some insight into my thoughts there, okay? So if PD Kim could give Ms. Stafford a call. All right, best of luck to you all. Is that the end of courtroom 2? We just have the waived case? Courtroom 2? Is courtroom 2 frozen?
Yes, ma'am. The waive is the last one we have to do in courtroom.
All
2.
right, take care. Courtroom 2 can be excused.
Thank you so much. Have a
All
good-
right, have a good afternoon. Let's begin the waived case in the SCA calendar, position 7, Ricky Williams, where he's charged in case 23 CR 004352J with trespass and obstruction. Mr. Howard, can I have his history?
51 total. Last arrest was last month for trespass. He on probation for simple battery. He been arrested 10 times this year.
Okay, that's sufficient. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred yesterday at the Greyhound bus station at 232 Forsyth Street. And this is where the defendant remained and continued to re-enter the bus station after being told several times by security and employees over the past 2 days not to return on the premises. And the defendant has been asked to leave, and while he was there, he was asked to leave because while there he was disturbing paying customers and refusing to leave every single time security would ask him. And so officers asked him to leave yesterday. He left, but then he came back. And so they placed him under arrest. And so while doing so, the defendant resisted to the point where officers had to tase him. So for these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 for each count, and to stay away from the Greyhound bus station, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Okay, was it raining yesterday?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Williams is actually residentially challenged. So we already requested our social worker to have a visit there to make sure that because he expressed his interest in rehabilitation program for his drug and alcohol issues. So I think that's next step that we can do. Signature bond is strongly desired, but at this point, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature bond because of his 10 times arrest this year, we would like to request for maximum $500 good bond. Even that's going to be no bond for him. He's qualified for public defender services. He has no income, nobody who can help him out to get out of the jail. So $250 for each charge, Your Honor. Thanks.
All right. Defendant receive $1,000 surety bond, $500 each count. and he's to stay away from that Greyhound bus station. He will be reset to state all purpose on the 27th, but we can revisit this. All right, is there anything further?
Nothing further from defense.
Okay, Judge, this is Ms. Grace. Can you give me the conditions again for position number 6?
I want to, what was position 6? That was the young man.
Mr. Stanford, yes.
He's going through pretrial. He is to have no further violent contact with the victims. Is that correct? And those were the only conditions. Complete the 1-day anger awareness.
Okay, no stay away.
No stay away.
No drugs or alcohol.
Yes, no drugs, alcohol, weapons. All right, can we go ahead and review the calendar?
Yes, ma'am. Position number 1 is a $2,000 good bond. Position number 2 is a $5,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 3 is a $1,000 good bond. Position number 4 is a $500 good bond. Position number 5 is a $2,500 good bond. Position number 6 is a $3,000 pretrial per judge. Position number 7 is a $1,000 good bond. Position number 8 is a $2,000 good bond. And position number 9 is a $3,000 pretrial per judge.
Any comments, changes, corrections? All right. We will be in recess until tomorrow's SEA calendar. Take care, everyone. Have a good afternoon.